け翼。仕上げはフットサル仕込みのトウシュートだ。これがフットサル流のテクニックだぜ。
俺に任せておけ。山ごもり特訓で身につけた山なるキープだ。
How's it going, everyone? This is nothingxs, and I'm here with T.Ken to talk about the latest banner, the Golden 23 Fight Warriors in Blue banner, featuring the Tachibana twins and the Futsal duo. The Tachibana twins feature some of the new passes introduced in the game, while the Futsal duo are a quirky pair with monster buffs for Golden 23 teams, and Misaki in particular. A quick reminder that if you want to join a good community to talk about Captain Tsubasa, or you want to talk more about this video beyond the comments, you can join us at the subreddit r/ctdt to talk more. With that said, let's dive right in. Masao Tachibana, Awakening to Defense, is a toughness-type defensive midfielder who plays for Golden 23's All Japan. He's an odd defensive version of Masao, with the first S-Pass available to any version of Masao yet. Masao comes with a Super Solidarity for toughness-type Japanese players worth 15% to all stats, with an additional 2% for any Golden 23 players. This means any Golden 23 players on your team, regardless of type, will receive an additional 2% buff, which is nice. Masao's passive is Price of Confused Fight, which causes your opponent's unit to lose 10% to their stats if that unit beats Masao in a matchup. That debuff lasts until their next matchup, whatever the matchup might be. So for example, if they encounter two defenders afterwards, they're weaker against both of them. If they try shooting, their shot would be weaker if that's the next thing they do after beating Masao. The debuff can't be shielded, but it can be cleared by tapping the ball to themselves within the penalty area and trapping the ball, or by passing the ball away and getting into a matchup with another player. And that satisfies the requirement for one matchup, so take note. He comes equipped out of the gate with an S Monkey Pass, a 420 momentum pass for 210 stamina, which is the first S pass Masao has access to. Additionally, he comes with A Wild Monkey Tackle, which is a 315 momentum and 325 stamina tackle, as well as A Flying Squirrel Interception, a 315 momentum and 295 stamina interception that rounds out his default defensive abilities. Masao is primarily a passer, with 7.8k pass paired with 6.7k technique. He's also defensively decent, sporting a 6.5k tackle and 6.6k intercept to round things out, and 5.5k speed. Decent stats to be sure, but nothing game-breaking. For an offensive limit break that focuses primarily on passing and pass-cutting ability, we would recommend a simple 25 to pass, intercept, technique, and speed. This will give him some degree of tackle, but serves to primarily make him engage opponents quicker and to be a good passer and pass cutter. For a more utility-oriented limit break, particularly for those who bought the A skill dribble from the shop for $7.99 US, a 16 dribble, 16 tackle, 18 speed, 17 pass, 17 intercept, 16 technique split is preferable, as it gives you the flexibility on both offense and defense to try and win a matchup, and you will always punish the opponent when you lose a matchup with this unit regardless. Due to the nature of his character build and passives, this Masao really isn't particularly potent. He caps out at around 11.2k pass as the strongest parameter, with things rounded out at 9.3k tackle, 8.8k dribble, and just shy of 10k intercept. The utility limit break, which I personally prefer, would put him a bit closer to 10k dribble, 12.3k pass, 10.5k tackle, and 11.1k intercept, making him a sort of utility defensive midfielder that pairs well with, say, Golden 23 Izawa. The best options here rely on whether you're going to use Jito on a team or not. Assuming that you won't, as there are no real good versions of him at the moment, consider rolling with S Flying Squirrel Interception, S Wild Monkey Tackle, A Skill Dribble, and A Tachibana Twins to go along with your default S Monkey Pass. That's more or less all you need to make him a full utility build with most of your power loaded defensively. Is this a strong version of Masao? Well, he's decent enough, but his passive more or less works on the concept that he'll lose a matchup rather than encouraging you as a player to try your best to win, which feels counterproductive. Is he a key player for a Golden 23 team? I don't think so. I think you don't have many options to run in general, so it wouldn't be surprising to see him starting on a Golden 23 squad, but he's certainly not necessary for anything other than his team skill, which is better served on the bench to further buff Izawa on a Toughness Japan team than anything else. Is this Masao worth pulling for? Frankly, only for the highest of high rollers who must have an absolutely perfect Red Japan team for the team skill. He's otherwise a pass. Next up is Kazuo Tachibana, Awakening to Defense, who is an agility-type defensive midfielder who plays for Golden 23's All Japan. He's an odd defensive version of Kazuo with another S dribble that honestly should have been on Masao to begin with. Kazuo comes with a super solidarity for agility-type Japanese players worth 15% to all stats with an additional 2% for any Golden 23 players. Kazuo's passive is also Price of Confused Fight, but this one works differently. This causes your opponent's unit to lose 150 stamina if that unit beats Kazuo in a matchup. That means if you steal the ball from Kazuo, you're out 150 stamina. If you get past Kazuo, you're 150 stamina out. This cannot be protected against, nor can it be reduced by full power football, making it the better of the two passes in the long term, as an additional 150 stamina drain on a move is really nothing to sneeze at. He comes equipped out of the gate with S Monkey Guard, a 415 dribble for 240 stamina, which is frankly just a strictly worse flying squirrel jump, which sort of causes one to ask why the dribble didn't go to Masao instead. Additionally, comes with A Wild Monkey Tackle, which is a 315 momentum, 325 stamina tackle, as well as A Flying Squirrel Interception, which is a 315 momentum and 295 stamina interception, rounding out his default defensive abilities. This Kazuo is primarily a dribbler, with 8.3k dribble paired with 6.7k speed. He's also defensively decent, sporting a 6.5k tackle and 6.9k intercept to round things out, with 5.5k technique. Decent stats to be sure, but nothing game-breaking. This sounds very familiar. Remember that it's rare that the stats between versions of Kazuo and Masao are actually very different, particularly if they share the same actual positions and goals. For an offensive limit break that focused primarily on moving the ball forward and baiting tackles, we would recommend a simple 25 to dribble, tackle, and speed with 21 intercept and 4 technique rounding everything out. This serves to primarily make him a solid and fast dribbler and tackler while more or less ignoring any passing ability. For a more utility-oriented limit break, particularly for those who have a technical pass to give him, a 16 dribble, 16 tackle, 18 speed, 17 pass, 17 intercept, and 16 technique split is preferable, as it gives you the flexibility on both offense and defense to try and win a matchup. And again, you're going to be punishing the opponent when you lose a matchup with this unit regardless. Due to the nature of his character build and passives, this Kazuo is also not particularly potent. He caps out 11.7k dribble as the strongest parameter, and it rounds out at 9.9k tackle, 8.5k pass, and 9.7k intercept. The utility limit break, which is what I would personally prefer to put on him, would put him a bit closer to 12.9k dribble, 9.7k pass, 11.1k tackle, and 10.9k intercept, making him a sort of full utility defensive midfielder. He doesn't pair well with Izawa though, like his brother does, because of the color mismatch. The best options here rely on whether you're going to use Jito on a team or not. Assuming that you won't, but that you will have Masao on the team, consider rolling with S Coordinated Acrobatic Intercept or the S Flying Squirrel Interception if you're playing solo. Then A Wild Monkey Tackle, A Technical Pass, and A Tachibana Twins to go along with your default S Monkey Guard. This is more or less all of what you need to make him a full utility build, with most of your power loaded into your dribble and pass cut. Is this a strong version of Kazuo? He is decent enough, and while his passive more or less works on the concept that he'll lose a matchup rather than encouraging you as a player to try your best to win, it's also more permanently damaging, as draining 150 stamina with no limitation is actually pretty brutal. Is he a key player for a Golden 23 team? I don't think so. I think you don't have many options to run in general, so it wouldn't be surprising to see him on a starting Golden 23 squad, but he's certainly not necessary for anything other than his team skill on a blue team, and I don't think any of the blue Golden 23 units, save for Egawa, are particularly frightening. Furthermore, I'd rather have Dream Collection Kazuo on agility type Japanese team to buff Dreamfest Masao. Is this Kazuo worth pulling for? Only if you desperately need any version of Kazuo on your agility type Japanese team, or just urgently need a super solidarity passive. He otherwise seems like a hard pass. Kotaro Furukawa, Boastful Art, is a toughness type forward and attacking midfielder who plays for Golden 23's All Japan. He's one of the two absolutely new players in the game along with his duo partner Kazami, and they are both known together as the futsal duo by people who read the manga. They're mostly interesting for their curious hidden abilities and open-ended team skills, as well as for just being completely fresh faces in the game, so let's take a deeper look at them. Furukawa has an odd set of hidden abilities to begin with. There's the almost mandatory rain puddle resistance that exists on many players for PvE purposes. After that, he has a curious special skill block with a 70% chance of turning off an opponent's tackle special skill in a matchup. This helps him overcome the fact he only has a bad A dribble in a matchup if he tries to break through without using a 1-2. He also has Combination Kazami, which gives him a plus 5% boost to stats if Shinosuke Kazami is on his team. The last two hidden abilities are the real kickers though. The first is a stats up, granting toughness type Golden 23 players on his team a big plus 4% to all stats, which would include him. The last one is even more narrow though. It's a second stats up, but this time it specifically targets any versions of Golden 23 Misaki on your team and grants him 5% to all stats. Furukawa comes with one of the new broad team skills, this one being the same as Catalonia Tsubasa's, granting Japanese players plus 15% to all stats. Oddly, his passive skill is a bit more simple, being low baller, making him send in low balls into the penalty area. Most new debut players tend to come with 4 skills out of the gate so as to give you options, as being new players, they don't have any innate skill support. Furukawa comes with S pivot pass, it's a 440 momentum, 220 stamina pass. He also comes with S futsal combo, a 455 momentum, 420 stamina, 1-2 with Kazami. A skill dribble, a 265 momentum and 180 stamina dribble. And a swift interception, a 295 stamina, 280 interception. Furukawa's stats are quite utilitarian but focus on offense, with 6.7k dribble, 7.4k pass, 5.2k tackle, and 5.4k intercept. His speed's an okay 5.3k, while his technique rounds everything out at 7.6k. There's really only very viable limit break for him in my eyes, and that would be a full utility one. While he doesn't have an A or better skill to take advantage of it just yet, it's probably still the best bet for long-term play. That limit break would be 16 dribble, 16 tackle, 18 speed, 17 pass, 17 intercept, and 16 technique. If you don't mind spending limit break reset tickets, then for now you could just ignore dribble entirely and fully focus on passing and interception with 25 pass, intercept, technique, and speed, which may need changing later if he gets access to an S dribble and a better tackle. Because for now it's likely that you'll use a second limit break for him, particularly for now, we should look at what his parameters would look like with that. We also assume you're running him alongside Kazami and are taking into account his own hidden ability buff. All of these things being a given, his pass reaches a 13.9k with intercept at 11.6k. His dribble manages to reach 10.7k, which should still be enough to ace dribble through most nonsense if you block your opponent's tackle. His tackle, of course, comes in at 9.1k. There's not much to say for a skill build. Keep all his default skills and also add the B speed tackle you can learn from his R unit. In the future, you're hoping for a new S dribble or just a much better A dribble, and perhaps at least S swift interception and some kind of better A tackle. But for now, those will just be hopes. What do you think of his hidden ability evolution? Well, in my case, I think it's pretty weird. He reminds me in a way of Rising Sun Leo and how he buffs Nachireza, except that his other abilities are quite a bit more limited than Leo's are. A plus 4% to toughness type Golden 23 players is weird in how limited it is, although there's 1 or 2 players who can really use it, like say Morisaki or Izawa. He's a good player to use as a result if you're fielding like Golden 23 Nita also and you need to make him stronger. Is Furukawa a key player in a toughness type Japan team? I don't think so, quite frankly. There's no real room for him in that kind of team as it's constructed right now, particularly given that a Golden 23 Misaki wouldn't be strong in that team composition because he needs skill type Japanese players. Is Furukawa worth playing for? If you're trying to assemble a Golden 23 team, there's an argument to be made for him as support for Kazami and to further strengthen Misaki, but otherwise there's just more reasons to skip him than to pull him. Our last player is Shinosuke Kazami, yearning for a bigger field. He's a skill-type forward and attacking midfielder who plays for Golden 23's All Japan. He's one of the 2 absolutely new players in the game along with his duo partner Furukawa. And like his partner, he has a weird set of hidden abilities and an open-ended team skill. Kazami has an odd set of hidden abilities to begin with. There's the almost mandatory rain puddle resistance that exists on many players for PvE purposes. But after that, he has special skill block, 70% chance of turning off an opponent's intercept special skill in a matchup, and this helps him force his way through a defender by using his futsal combo 1-2. He also has combination Furukawa, which gives him a 5% boost to stats if Kotaro Furukawa is on his team. Like with Furukawa, his last 2 hidden abilities are the real kickers. The first is a stats up, except in this case it grants skill type Golden 23 players on his team a big plus 4% to all stats. And the last one is a second stats up that also grants Golden 23 Misaki on his team 5% to all stats. If you remember, Golden 23 Misaki, the one that's out right now, is actually a green unit. And so in this case, that does mean that this Golden 23 Misaki would receive, just from Kazami alone, 9% increase to all of his stats. Like with Furukawa, Kazami comes with the same team skill as Catalina Tsubasa, granting all Japanese players a 15% boost to all stats. Opposite of Furukawa, his passive is Highballer, which lets him send high balls into the box with a pass. That pairs well with the Golden 23 version of Ken Wakashimazu, for instance. Like Kotaro, he comes with 4 skills for his debut release. His main skill is S-Toe Kick Shot, a not very strong but quite efficient 440 momentum shot with a 365 stamina cost. He also comes with S-Futsal Combo, which is a 455 momentum, 420 stamina 1-2 with Furukawa, a precise pass, a 250 momentum, 145 stamina pass, and a skill dribble, a 265 momentum, 180 stamina dribble. Hi, Mona. Kazami's stats are similar to Furukawa's, but they're weighed a bit differently. Kazami is a more capable shooter, clocking in at 7.6k shot and 6.2k power. His dribble is 6.7k, although his 5.9k pass is a bit low, though it is paired with 6.3k technique. He's not great defensively with just 5.2k tackle and 5.3k intercept total. Being that he's supposed to be a shooter and that Shinosuke is a character that does appear in the manga, we can expect to see more versions of him in the future. With that said, with us expecting a stronger shot in the future, we'd suggest a stronger and traditional striker build, with 25 to shot, power, and speed, rounding it out with 21 pass and 4 technique. This will also be helpful for your PvE endeavors such as a time attack, where you will find that Kazami is actually quite useful. Just like with Furukawa, when played with his partner and fully limit broken, he has some acceptable parameters. 13.3k shot is paired with 11k pass and 10.7k dribble on offense. Defensively, he'll never be quite much to write home about though, with just 9.1k tackle and 9.4k intercept. There's not much to say for his skill build either though. Remember that to keep all of his default skills and also add the B-Swift interception you can learn from his R unit. In the future, you're hoping for a new S dribble and perhaps at least S Swift interception and some kind of better pass. What do you think of his hidden ability evolution? Like with Furukawa, it's weird. His job is to basically be a totem for G23 Misaki to the tune of 9%. He might be a good sub if you urgently need Misaki to be stronger in a matchup against, say, Dreamfest Salinas, and you're committed to a skill team. Certainly that's the only way I can think of using him at the moment. Is Kazami a key player in skill type Japan? I think he's a good bench player, particularly since if you play Golden 23 Misaki, he'll be worth putting in if you really need Misaki to carry the team. But that's about it. Is Kazami worth pulling for? Well, if you're trying to assemble a Golden 23 team, maybe. If you're playing skill type Japan, maybe. It depends on whether Golden 23 Misaki is an integral part of your plans and whether you value what he brings to the team in terms of buffs, because frankly he's not great by himself and his team skill is not particularly useful for a skill type Japan team. You basically are relying on him to make Misaki carry your team, and if you're playing Green Japan, you need to diversify way more than just putting all of your eggs in the Misaki basket. Anyway, thank you all for checking out this video. If you like this video, please consider hitting the like button, and if you would like to check out further content from Tsubasa, make sure to hit the subscribe button and ring the notification bell. Again, if you guys want to support the best Captain Tsubasa subreddit, make sure to check the new one out at reddit.com/r/ctdt. Thanks again for your time, everyone, and as usual, I hope to see you all soon.